Well, hello. My name's Big Al Staggs, and I started my music career back in 1987 at a hardcore club, punk rock club called The Corner. The Corner was on 38th and Hampton Boulevard, and I was going to college at the time. And so I decided to write my first song, I Married a Douchebag. Yeah, it was a classic. And I went up there with a roommate, Slicky Bob, who was 6'10". What an interesting fellow he was. Not much of a personality and didn't play basketball, but he knew three chords. So together we wrote the song, I Married a Douchebag. I went up there and I performed it. And then on the way out of the club, a sound engineer introduced himself as Mole. Hey, my name's Mole. And Mole said, if you come back next week and perform, I'll record you. I was like, this is pretty cool, man. So it was pretty neat to be a college kid and accepted in that punk rock era. Those folks, they were, in the black leather jackets and the white T-shirts, and for me, it was interesting, but really loving folks, and accepted me in right away. So I was real happy for that. But I did come back and actually did 7 straight open mic nights there, and during that time, the band Left Wing Fascist was formed. That's what Mole asked me that first night. What's the name of the band? And my guitar player, Slicky Bob, he bent down, his 6'10" self, and he's like, Left Wing Fascist. And I'm like, what? He goes, Left Wing Fascist. And I said, okay. He goes, I thought it would always be cool to have a band called that. Well, he was right, because it is a oxymoron, and that name has gotten me through a lot of interesting conversations, to say the least. So anyway, Slicky Bob, he wasn't really into it, so he left right away, and then was able to meet up with another guy on campus. His name's Eric Nestor. We called him Lunchbox because he was always out to lunch. And one of the guys across the street where I lived in college, Marcus Wegener from Germany, actually bought a bass, and daggone if we didn't start this whole process of Left Wing Fascists. We kept the name. We went through about 8 drummers. But we got pretty good, and we started playing, and before you know it, bam, we were opening up for the Ramones, and I was on tour with the Ramones before I knew it. Then I was playing Lollapalooza, and the second stage with Red Hot Chili Peppers and Pearl Jam, and Soundgarden was on that gig. We were on the second stage, and we got to perform at Lollapalooza. So all this was happening, and then got nailed with a record company. The record company, the production company Cellar Door, was starting a record company, and they put us in $1 million studio. We were the first band to go in there and play, so they flew this producer down. This producer was a guy named Stacy Heydon, and this was in 1989, right there at the end, towards 90, and he had just landed a #1 hit with a true one-hit wonder band called Sheriff, When I'm With You was the name of the song, and they were above Tone Loc and Michael Jackson there in the top 100. So he had just produced that, so they flew the producer down, they flew Stacy down to produce us, and that was my first time meeting Stacy, and that was around 1990. When we were in there in the studio, recorded 10 songs called A Mother's Nightmare. And we went out and got signed on that Cellar Door Records, but they pushed us over to another company on the West Coast called Rencon. And they actually were a division of Rhino Records. So we were distributed by BMG and Rhino Records. And so there you go. I was all of a sudden, I thought, wow, man, I'm going to be a rock star. This is going to be it, man. This is my life, right? Well, it didn't turn out quite like that. Unfortunately, the East Coast Record Company would not put us on the road unless the West Coast Record Company would put out a music video. The West Coast Company said, we're not going to do a video for those guys. They're not proving themselves by going on the road. And so when the record came out, it did pretty well in college. We did Dr. Demento. That was cool. I was on Dr. Demento's show with the song Kmart Shopper. And I Drive a Yugo did pretty well. In college radio, but for the most part, the thing went out with no tour support, without anything, and boom, we lost the record deal. So that was very frustrating for me. It was a big setback. But while all this was going on, I actually, managed to maintain a pretty good relationship with Stacy. And Stacy Heydon had decided he was going to stay in town after he came in. He liked our town so much. He ended up doing a recording studio called Daily Planet. And it was kind of cool because at the time in Virginia, we were in Virginia Beach, so I got to record my second record, and Stacy went ahead and produced that for me. He did it a solid because I had signed a 7-record deal. And I was damned and determined to put out 7 records, even though the record company didn't want me and they folded and things didn't go so well. So I was really smart. I went ahead and collected all the rights to all of the music for Left Wing Fascist. And, I put it out on CD Baby. And did what I needed to do back in the day because the record company folded and nobody had the rights to it. And so I did, and I secured the rights for all the music and also the second record that we had recorded. So we put a second record out. It did okay. It did really well locally, but things didn't work out as far as, getting signed to a major label. So that band over the years, it kind of filtered and faltered till about 1996. And at that time, everybody kind of had moved on, and we, have gotten back together and do some reunion shows. And so I started with my brother, who is unfortunately deceased, Lee Staggs. We had started a band called Moaning Lisa's. So we started that band back in about 1996, I believe it was, off the top of my head. And that band's still together. In fact, I have a show coming January 23rd here at the Vanguard Brewery and Distillery in Hampton, Virginia. So I'm looking forward to playing live in 2023. The fact that we're still doing it. But that band actually put out a couple of records, but it took us a while. We did some recording with Stacy in 96, recorded 5-song demo, and then he headed out the door. He went on to California. Well, he first went down to Florida and went to California, but we maintained a friendship. And so about 2015, I decided that maybe it was time to bring back Left Wing Fascist. Now, some of the guys had moved on, but Scott Carlisle, the main lead guitar player, and myself, we got together and we started writing a new record in 2015 called Oxymoron. And again, we enlisted Stacy to help us with that. And that's what I'm real proud of, that friendship, because Stacy Heydon, which is or was the guitar player for David Bowie and for Iggy Pop, is, and this great producer, and I'd worked with him before. He really, really helped me so much, learned so much about my recordings, what I should be doing. He said, sure. I went in on the project. So this time, what we did is it was weird because, you fast forward when, in the 90s and the 80s, we would record, we were like one of the first bands to put something on CD. It was so old, we had them in boxes. And then all of a sudden, the CD world got mad because, we were killing all the trees. And then they put everything in plastic. But A Mother's Nightmare had come out in a box, which was cool. I still have some boxes. But Stacy said, absolutely, I'm in on it. So we put out Oxymoron in 2015. And that did really well. I started getting real good because, when you're an independent artist, you don't have any folks working for you, And so I started learning, and I started really going in deep on how to submit to radio stations and how to present yourself, and working on, bios and things like that. And the record did really well, really, really well. So we did that, and then we decided to do a greatest hits compilation CD, which I'm glad we did. We put out some of our best hits for Left Wing in 2016, and that did real well. In fact, things are going so well that I don't know, some royalty checks have been coming in from France. We don't know what's happening. Something's crazy, but the song "You're Not Good Looking Enough to Be a Bitch" is doing something in France. Of course, no one will tell me, but the fact that, to get some checks is just I don't know, it's crazy this many years later, but I'm thankful for it. And like I said, the band has really done pretty well. Been in a few movies, especially any movies about Yugos, because of our song "I Drive a Yugo," and been on a couple of in some books. They talk about the band in the book called "In a Yugo," so it's kind of neat to get that recognition. But let's flash back to Moaning Lisa's. Since Scott Carlisle was in Carolina, I had to fly out to LA to do my recordings with Stacy, and then he did all the producing and mixing and everything, and he put it out. When it came around to the year 2017, Moaning Lisa's wanted to put out an album, and the difference with that is those guys wanted to do all their parts in studio. So we did a studio in the Virginia area, because we're from the Virginia area, and I flew out to do my vocals in L.A. and Stacy mixed it and produced it for us in 2017. That was called Moaning Lisa's, and it's called 100% ABV is the name of that. And what's neat about that is during all this times I've gotten to friend of mine who wrote some songs for the Beat Farmers out in San Diego, named Paul Kamansky. So we actually put 3 of his songs that he wrote on that release, and a couple of songs that I wrote. One called Cow Tippin' that's done pretty good on YouTube. It's well over 60,000 plays, so that's kind of cool. But the cow tipping song is pretty neat. And actually, so I went out to do all my recordings there, and Stacy was kind enough to shoot some of the video. If you look at the video, there's a lot of video footage of me up in the foothills of California, and then there's some taking the train down to San Diego to actually spend time with Paul and Karen, and they put some backing vocals on one of the songs that Paul had written. So that was a good year, 2017. And then 2018, had 2 guys leave the Moaning Lisa's, and it was kind of a devastating thing at first, but then we picked up a new bass player right away. I picked up a new guitar player. And this guitar player, Lance Bailey, we went in and we wrote a album called Extra Cheese. And again, Stacy Heydon recorded it, and produced it. Again, those guys did their parts in Virginia at a studio with Skip. And then I did all my stuff with Stacy out in California again. So that's what was rolling with 2018. And then about this time, Moaning Lisa's it didn't go on a hiatus, but seemed like we didn't want to write. It was like a stalemate. I couldn't get Scott to write anything with Left Wing Fascist. And I thought to myself, I really, really, really want to do a solo album. I might as well just go out there and just do it, hit a solo career. So I reached out to Stacy and I said, Stace, I'm pretty good on some lyric writing, but I'm lacking in my ability to write songs with the actual music. And he says, okay, I'll go ahead and do it for you. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, go ahead and I'll write the music, you write the lyrics, so let's put a solo record out, and I will do all of the parts and play all the music on it, and you do the vocals. So in 2020, I came out with Solo, which was a 10-song, all original 10 songs. The biggest song on that's done the best for me is called Been There, Done That. And Been There, Done That has done real well all over the world. I'm really surprised with that one as well. It's a great video. We shot most of the music video in California, the San Clemente Pier, at Rosie's up there in the mountains. So that was really cool. So in other words, I've been doing a lot of flying out to California to get this stuff done over the last few years to do some recording. And what's great about that is that I feel like it's top notch. It's quality. This guy has had a #1 hit before. He knows what he's doing. I just let him handle that stuff. The other part, which is a con, it's not a pro. I wouldn't say it's a con. It's actually like, it's work. Okay, it's a lot of work. The work saying it's like going to the dentist. It's not fun. You know, you get yelled at. You got to hit the pitch. You get somebody. I mean, he'll start yelling at you, and he's like, "No, I told you to sing it this way," and he'll hit you the pitch, and then he'll yell at you some more, and then you're trying in your brain to get that pitch in your head so you can nail it in the studio. Because I go to work, and I think that's one of the reasons why he likes working with me and has done all these releases. This would be what number 5 that he has produced for me, 5th recording. Now, I told you back earlier in this interview that I was going to roll with 7 releases. But let's jump back. 2020, things went real well. I put a couple of other music videos. Unfortunately, the pandemic hit. I seem to be doing pretty well out in California. I'm sorry, in Germany with a DJ called Lord Litter. What a great guy. I have had great luck and actually have been able to have lunch with this man up in New York, but a guy named Bill Kelly. Bill Kelly is the original DJs from WFH, WHFU. It's the one up in New York, but he's also A1 crack DJ at Sirius Little Steven's Underground Garage. So, been there, done that, got some serious airplay on Underground Garage. Thanks to Mr. Kelly. I owe him a lot for that. And Rodney Bingenheimer, another DJ that, that in California that has really helped me out. Mighty Manford. Manford is the daytime guy. He's been extremely kind to me. So it's nice to have, Genia Raven is another one who does the best unsigns. Those 4 DJs have been so good to me on Sirius Satellite Radio, and I'm really blessed to have those guys listening to my stuff and making the decision, that to play it. But you got to do the best you can in the studio, and rock it out. So we get to why I'm doing this interview. In 2022, I put out So No, which is the follow-up, my sophomore solo release. And it has 10 songs on it. And Dummy Ate a Gummy has done really, really well on Sirius. Welcome to Island Time is a song about Cape Hatteras. And the music video has landed on a bunch of Cape Hatteras, Outer Banks, North Carolina sites. I got to go down and play the Shred Fest, which is a huge outdoor concert there in Outer Banks. And I threw together a backup band called the Jajas, which is my son, Jake Staggs, an up-and-coming local musician here in the Norfolk Tidewater area. And he put together a band. We went down there, and they were called the Jajas because we took the first letter of each guy's name and came up with Jaja. And we're still playing out live. I'm playing live. So the 2022 release, So No, is doing great, and I'm so blessed to be in that situation. To start from 1987 and then to get to here, I still have a lot more to do. I found out last week that I just am going to be awarded a Lifetime Achievement Award for a musicianship here in the Veer is our magazine, our trade magazine that does music and arts in my hometown, Norfolk, Virginia, and so I'm winning the Lifetime Achievement Award. So obviously this longevity of continuing to playing out and stuff and writing songs is gotten some recognition here in my local town. But I don't do it for that kind of stuff. I'm just happy that I'm able to do it. In fact, I just finished up a new song. I'm working on the 3rd album. I just sent Stacy some demos, and Stacy and I are doing this 3rd album together. I'm really enjoying having the guitarist for David Bowie and Iggy Pop play all my guitar parts and bass parts, and he writes the drum parts. And I'm enjoying writing the lyrics, and it's a friendship that I'm so grateful for, that I have some folks like this on my side, especially Stacy. He's a great man and has really taken good care of me. So I hope you guys check out my it's bigalstaggs.com, leftwingfascist.com, moaninglisas.com. We're all over the Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you can watch Dummy Ate a Gummy. That's done, over close to 20,000 views on TikTok, which, is pretty good for an indie artist. But I hope that you listen to what I have and what the radio station here is about to play for you. And hope that you enjoy my music, and I really appreciate, if you want to reach out to me, I handle, like I said, I'm independent. I handle all of the stuff and take care of it. And if anybody knows why I'm getting big checks from France, could you please let me know? Maybe it's in a TV show or a movie. I have no idea. But that song's called "You're Not Good Looking Enough to Be a Bitch." And the band is Left Wing Fascist. So I appreciate you guys listening to my Rick Rattler Roar. And, I hope you guys get a chance to tune in, reach out to me, and say hello. All right, peace out, and have a great rest of your year.
When life gets so complicated, working on the goal seems overrated. Looking for the truth, rhyme or reason, watching others commit acts of treason. Can't believe what I see before my eyes. My fellow man dressed up in disguise. Everybody poses, he's the actor. Everybody knows he's a reactor. Looking to see what he does next, wondering who has placed the bets. 15-1, he's forgot about me. Double that, he's forgot about you. I'm giving up, I'm ready to go. I never really wanted to be at the show, but I came to see what it was about. You told me not to have any doubt. Here I stand, next to you. Here we are, we're stuck like glue. Both of us, we probably won't win. I should just consider giving in. Then I remember 1989. It was December, had music on my mind. A cold day, I went to see them play. It warmed my heart, it took my breath away. From that time on, I searched and saw. I knew it couldn't be that long. Before I found the words for you, some words you could hold so true. I'm getting up, I'm ready to go. I never really wanted to be at the show, but I came to see what it was about. You told me not to have any doubt. Here I stand, next to you. Here we are, we're stuck like glue. Both of us, we probably won't win. I should just consider giving in. Yeah, speaking the truth. We live right now, like this did in my life.